What if you could build a tiny town, fill it with AI characters, and just let them live? Okay, so this is John Lin. He's what the researchers call a generative agent, basically an AI character running on a language model. And every morning, John gets up, brushes his teeth, makes himself some breakfast, says hi to his wife and kid, and heads off to work. And here's the thing, nobody told him to do any of that. No developer sat down and scripted brush teeth at 6:15. He just figured it out on his own. So the researchers tried something. They took one agent, this woman named Isabella Rodriguez, and they gave her a single instruction, just one. You're planning a Valentine's Day party at Hobbs Cafe, February 14th, 5 to 7. That's it. Nobody else in the town was told anything about a party. And what happened was kind of incredible. Over the next 2 days, Isabella just started mentioning it to people. And those people mentioned it to other people. Some of them even asked each other out on dates to the party. This whole chain of social behavior just unfolded on its own. And on February 14th at 5 o'clock, they showed up. 5 agents walked into Hobbs Cafe at the right time. Nobody coordinated this. It just happened. This is the paper, Generative Agents, out of Stanford and Google, published at UIST 2023. Let me show you how it actually works. All right, so first, the problem. Say you've got a language model and you ask it, hey, it's noon. What should Klaus do? And it says, have lunch. Okay, sure, makes sense. Half an hour later, same question. Have lunch. 1 o'clock. Yeah, lunch sounds good. 3 lunches in a row, because it has no memory. Every single time you ask, it's like the first time. Now look at the right side. The generative agent eats lunch, then reads, then goes to the library. 3 completely different things. So what's going on here? Well, look at what each one can actually see. The basic LLM gets almost nothing, just the time and the question. It has no idea it already answered this 30 minutes ago. But the generative agent? It also gets its memories. It knows it already ate. And its plan for the day. Same question, but way more context to work with. So the question is, how do you actually give an AI agent memory and reflection and planning? Turns out you need 3 things: a memory stream, a reflection system, and a planning module. Let me walk you through each one. Here's the big picture. The agent looks at the world around it. It perceives things. And everything it perceives goes into this thing called the memory stream, which is basically a running diary of its entire life. When it needs to do something, it pulls up the most relevant memories and uses those to decide. But there are 2 loops that make this really work. Reflection, where it steps back and forms bigger insights from its memories. And planning, where it maps out its day. Both of those loop right back into the memory stream. Let's start with how memory works. Part 1, the memory stream. So every single thing the agent notices gets written down. 7 a.m., Klaus brushed his teeth. 8, walked to the library. Every little thing. And each entry gets a score. How important was this? On a scale of 1 to 10. Brushing teeth? That's like a 2. Pretty boring. But hearing that Isabella's throwing a Valentine's Day party? That's an 8. The system can tell the difference. Now, over a full day, you end up with hundreds of these entries, and the language model can only fit a handful into its prompt at any given time. So the real question is, when the agent needs to make a decision, which memories does it actually grab? Each memory entry has 4 parts. There's the timestamp, when it happened, the description, just plain English, the importance score, 1 to 10 rated by the language model. And then there's this thing called an embedding vector. Basically, a list of numbers that captures what the memory is about. That's what lets the system figure out which memories are related to each other. Here's what the real data looks like in the paper. Part 2. Retrieval. Okay, so when the agent needs to pull up memories, it scores every single one on 3 things. First, recency. How recent is it? Something from this morning scores way higher than something from 3 days ago. Second, importance. And this is where it gets interesting. Brushing teeth scored really high on recency because it just happened, but its importance is basically 0. Meanwhile, Isabella's party was yesterday, lower recency, but the importance is through the roof. And third, relevance. How related is this memory to what's going on right now? If the agent's being asked what it's looking forward to, the party is super relevant. Brushing teeth, not at all. You need all 3. Any one by itself doesn't cut it. So it adds them up, ranks everything, and grabs the top results for the prompt. Here's the actual scoring straight from the paper. Part 3. Reflection. So humans don't just remember stuff, we think about it, right? We notice patterns. The system does the same thing. It keeps a running tally of importance scores, and when that tally hits a certain point, the agent stops and reflects. Like journaling at the end of a long day. This kicks in about 2 or 3 times per simulated day. So say Klaus has spent the day reading about gentrification, taking notes, working with a librarian. The system takes all of those observations and asks, okay, what can we take away from all this? And it comes back with something like, Klaus is really dedicated to his research. That's not a memory of a specific moment. That's an insight. The agent basically built a self-concept from a bunch of raw observations. And the cool part, that reflection goes right back into the memory stream. So next time the agent retrieves memories, this insight can come up too. Here's the full reflection tree from the paper. You can trace how individual observations built up into that top-level conclusion. And the last piece, planning. Without a plan, the agent just reacts to whatever's in front of it. And that's how you get the 3 lunches thing. So at the start of each day, it generates a rough plan. Then it breaks that down, first into morning, afternoon, evening, then into hours, then into these little 5 to 15 minute blocks. So work on research turns into 9 a.m., find relevant papers. 9:15, read and annotate. 9:45, compare findings. A full detailed schedule from 1 sentence. And these plans get stored in the memory stream too, so the agent can look back at them later. But what if something unexpected comes up?
So Klaus is at the cafe and he bumps into Maria and she's like, hey, I'm really stressed about my art show. Could you help me set up this afternoon? That wasn't on the schedule.
So the agent replans. It keeps lunch with Maria, swaps out the research block for helping with the art show, pushes the library visit later, and leaves the party prep alone. It didn't just throw away the whole day, it adjusted the part that changed and left the rest alone, which is exactly what a real person would do. Now here's where it gets really wild. You take 25 of these agents, drop them in a town, and just let them go. And remember, only Isabella knows about the party. So day 1, Isabella's going about her day and she just brings it up. She's chatting with Giorgio at the cafe, she mentions the party, she sees Aisha, John, Klaus, she tells them too, all through normal one-on-one conversations. She's not sending a mass email, she's just talking to people. And then, the people she told start telling other people. Giorgio mentions it to Sam. Sam tells Jennifer, and he puts it in his own words. Aisha goes even further. She tells Maria she's organizing a reading night for the party. By the end of day 2, 12 agents have heard about this party, all through word of mouth. February 14th, 5 p.m. 5 of them show up. They each independently cleared their schedules and walked to Hobbs Cafe. No coordination, no shared calendar. They just came. Here's the full spread from the paper. Isabella's there hosting. Klaus came. Maria's there. Giorgio's in the corner playing guitar. Every single agent at this party decided on their own to show up. The architecture, memory, retrieval, reflection, planning, working across all these agents at once produced something that genuinely looks like a social event. And the party wasn't even the only thing that emerged. One agent decided to ask someone on a date to the party. It remembered liking talking to them, reflected on it, and actually asked. They said yes. Oh, and information changed as it spread. Isabella said, "Party at 5. By the time it hit the third person, it was, "I heard there might be live music." Nobody ever said anything about live music. And 3 agents showed up at the exact same time, independently. No group chat, no scheduling app. They just converged. Now, it wasn't all perfect. There were 3 recurring issues. Sometimes agents made up memories that never happened. Classic hallucination stuff. Sometimes they talked way too formally, like, "I would be delighted to attend your social gathering," instead of just, "Yeah, I'll be there." And sometimes the retrieval system just missed things. A relevant conversation from a few days ago would drop below the threshold. So does each piece of the architecture actually matter? The researchers tested this by interviewing the agents, like literally asking them questions. Self-knowledge. What are you passionate about? Klaus nailed it. Talked about his gentrification research, which matches his character. Memory. Who'd you talk to recently? Got it right. Mentioned Maria at the cafe. Planning. What are you doing at 10 a.m. tomorrow? Described his library schedule. Consistent. Reactions. Your breakfast is burning. Appropriate panic. Reflections. Described his friendship with Maria in a way that matched what the system had synthesized on its own. Full marks across the board. But the real experiment was the ablation study, where they removed one piece at a time and checked what happened. They started with a baseline. They had real humans watch replays of an agent's life, and then try to answer questions as that character. Then they tested no observation, believability tanks. No planning, even worse. No reflection, big drop too. And with everything turned on, the AI agents scored higher than the humans. Yeah, the agents with the full architecture were rated more believable than actual people trying to play the same characters. And you take away any single piece, memory, reflection, planning, and it falls apart. All 3 matter. So what do you actually do with this? Well, this architecture is basically a blueprint. Think about game NPCs that actually remember you. You help a shopkeeper on some quest, and 3 sessions later, she brings it up. Or social simulation. You want to test a new city policy? Run it on a town of agents first. See how they react. Training scenarios. You need to practice giving tough feedback? Do it with an AI character that actually pushes back. And AI companions that grow with you. Not chatbots that reset every conversation, but characters that actually remember your story. So let's bring it all back together. Perceive. Look at the world. Store it in the memory stream. Retrieve what matters. Recency, importance, relevance. Reflect. Turn raw memories into actual insights. And plan. Build a schedule. And replan when life throws a curveball. 5 simple ideas. Working together. That's all it takes to get believable human behavior out of a language model. No scripting, no rules engine, just memory, reflection, and planning. The paper's called Generative Agents. Joon Sung Park and team, Stanford and Google. I'll link the paper and the code in the description. And if you found this useful, hit subscribe. More of these coming. And thanks for watching.